Charles de Rudio was an Italian aristocrat who tried to kill Napoleon III and ended up fighting natives in the Wild West. How did he end up dying at the age of 78 in Pasadena, California? Let's take a look at his wild life. He was born Carlo de Rudio on August 25, 1832 AD in the city of Belluno, which was located in the former kingdom of Lombardy, Venetia. As a teenager, he was enrolled in the Scuola Militare Tolui, but he left the school when he was 15 to fight in the First War of Italian Independence. He joined the Italian revolutionaries in their cause for freedom. After the war, he tried to sail to the United States, but ended up shipwrecked off the coast of Spain. But he ended up settling in London in 1855, where he briefly settled down with a wife and ended up having 3 children. On January 14, 1858, Charles de Rudio was part of a plot to kill Napoleon III. He joined the mastermind of the scheme, Felice Orsini, along with several others, to set off 3 bombs near the Emperor's carriage. Napoleon was traveling with his wife and entourage to watch the opera William Tell. Orsini and company targeted Napoleon, whom they felt was blocking the unification of Italy. The plot failed and all members of the conspiracy were arrested. De Rudio was originally sentenced to death by guillotine, along with the ringleader, Felice Orsini, and Orsini's right-hand man, Giuseppe Paris. But he was granted clemency and sentenced to life in prison. He was going to spend the rest of his life on what many call the dry guillotine, the French penal colony, Devil's Island, and he was sentenced there on March 14, 1858. After spending a few months on the island, de Rudio, along with 12 other prisoners, managed to escape Devil's Island, and he made it to British Guiana before heading back to London. In 1860, de Rudio immigrated to the United States along with his family, and they settled in New York City. A year later, he joined the 79th New York Infantry Regiment right at the start of the U.S. Civil War. His unit fought for a few months at the Siege of St. Petersburg during the late summer and early fall of 1864. On November 14, 1864, de Rudio became a second lieutenant in the 2nd United States Colored Infantry Regiment and remained with the unit until he was discharged on January 5, 1866. De Rudio spent a few years in military limbo due to the reduction of the U.S. Army after the Civil War and the discovery of the shenanigans that he was part of in France back in 1858. Before, he was recommissioned as a second lieutenant and was sent out west to fight natives. He was assigned to the 7th Cavalry on July 14, 1869, and was placed in Company H, which was under the command of Captain Frederick Benteen. Benteen would rib de Rudio by calling him Count No Account due to his storytelling, boasting, and snooty manners. Lieutenant Colonel George Custer and his clique of officers didn't like him as well and would often appoint his cronies above him despite de Rudio having more experience in battle. De Rudio would be appointed to first lieutenant on December 15, 1875, and was named commanding officer of Company E, but Custer gave the command to his lackey, Algernon Smith, and he was moved to Company A. The 7th Cavalry fought the Sioux at the Battle of Little Bighorn on June 25, 1876. Custer and his men in Companies C, E, I, L, and F were killed in the battle. De Rudio, who was in command of Company A, escaped the slaughter. His unit was under the leadership of Major Marcus Reno, who retreated after being overwhelmed by a larger Sioux force. De Rudio lost his horse during the retreat and had to hide out with Private Thomas O'Neill for over 36 hours in the wilderness. They were hiding from the enraged Sioux who were looking for survivors. He was one of the few soldiers who also took a saber into the battle. Custer forbade his men from carrying them and scolded him a few months earlier for having one in his possession. In 1877, de Rudio was named commander of the newly reorganized Company E and took part in the Nez Perce War and was promoted to captain on December 17, 1882, while he was stationed in Fort Meade in the Dakota Territory. He retired at the mandatory age of 64 on August 26, 1896, and was awarded the rank of Major due to his service in the U.S. Civil War. He died on November 1st, 1910, at the age of 78. His remains were laid to rest at the San Francisco National Cemetery.